Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome back to
Shut the smut up.
What's up?
How you doing, sexual?
What? You're a freak. It's okay.
All right.
I like it.
I do too.
Yeah.
Anyways, today's episode we are going to be talking about. What are we talking about?
When the Moon Hatched.
By Sarah A. Parker.
Woohoo!
I loved this fucking book.
Yeah.
Loved.
Yes. I think we both agreed. We weren't even halfway through, and we were like,
It instantly became.
Yeah, this was like our top read of 2024.
Hands down so far.
It was so good. I will say one thing. I thought that dragons were going to be in it more. But you didn't care.
Actually, I didn't even think there were going to be dragons in it at all, because the description, it says that all the creators were in shock when all their dragons curled up into balls and went into the skies, right? So yes. I literally thought there was going to be no dragons, and that if there were, they were falling from the sky and like basically hatching, because the book is called When the Moon Hatched,
literally,
right? But it's not like that. But it's not like it's not your typical dragon book either, because
it's just not what I expected, but in the best kind of way.
They're in there, but they're not the main story.
Yes.
It's not. This is not your next Fourth Wing.
No.
This is not Fourth Wing, like where dragons are like the main subject. I mean, they are, but they're not at the same time. They're like a side character.
Yeah. It gave me a little, there was like certain aspects in the book that gave me like a little bit of Fourth Wing vibes, but it was more between like characters rather than the dragon aspect.
I agree with that.
You know? But yeah, I loved this book. I loved like the beginning, because I think I was missing the world building a little bit in some of our fantasy, because we've been reading things like I felt like the last
that
little
are fast paced.
Yeah, they're a little bit more fast paced. They're not as big. And when like we looked at this book, we were like, it's a chunker. And I was like, ooh. I feel like it was so good. It put me in like a teensy bit of a reading slump. Like I didn't want to pick anything back up after it.
Well, the way it ended, for one, you want book 2.
Yeah, now I have to freaking wait.
But yeah, the world building, I think that Sarah, she did it so beautifully, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then also did action within the world building, and she just plotted around the world building that just made the book so much better.
Yes.
This book is a really big world building book. I think that will lead better things into book 2 if there's more books afterwards. But she did it really well. Like at the beginning of the book, she prepares you for the world building.
Yes.
With the 20-page glossary and pronunciation guide. Like she was really prepared for this book.
Yeah.
And I did read that she started writing it in 2020 and released it at the end of 2023. So it took her almost 4
love
years
that
to
though.
write.
After reading it, I could see why it did, but I'm so glad, because I'm like, I really want to read the next book, but then at the same time, I'm also like,
you want her to wait.
Like, take your time, because the first one was so good.
Yeah, it was so intoxicatingly like.
I was like addicted to it from the beginning. So I like sat there and I like didn't realize how much I was missing the world building. Like I really was, and it was just like, oh, I feel like I opened this book and I just was like, I was just so happy and excited and giddy. And it was one of those things where like I remember talking to you and you were like, because I started reading the guides and the pronunciations, and I kind of was just like, I don't know what any of this means, and you were like, just skip it and come back.
Yeah.
And so as I did that, and I got a little bit past some of that world building and then came back, I was like, oh, I'm understanding a lot of this now.
And I think I really liked that she put that glossary,
so that you could go
everything
back
in there. Yeah.
I will say it is a little bit easier on a physical book to be able to flip back and forth.
For sure.
Sometimes because I read this on KU, and I sometimes it's hard to go back and forth. I have to figure out like a flow, because sometimes I get a little lazy.
No, like, I get that.
Going back
I
and
get
forth
that, because I mean,
Kindle.
with a book, you could just put like a bookmark right there and then just swipe back and forth, right?
Yes.
But yeah, the author, she really came prepared for this book, and you see so much hype on it on TikTok and Instagram, but then you also do see where, like, I feel like I could see where people didn't like the book as much, but world building and such thick first books are intimidating as shit.
Well, and I think if you're not a fantasy reader, like an avid fantasy reader, then it's something that it's a little daunting.
It is. It really is.
But I feel like we enjoy that. I feel like it had everything I wanted. It had the romance. It had like a good plot line. It had amazing characters. I loved the action in it. I loved the lore with the dragons and how they ended up in the sky. I loved like I just flew through it and I devoured it. When I sat down, I didn't want to put it down.
You don't.
And then when I got to the end, I was like, no, it's over. And then the ending, you're just like, shut up. It was so good. It was a 5-star read for me.
Oh, for sure.
And the thing is it's not even like it's that like it's not even like it's that spicy or anything like that. It didn't like if there would have been no spice, I wouldn't have even cared because the tension and like the little banter and like the forced proximity in it, I was like obsessed. It just gave me all the feels I wanted in a book. This book gave it.
I could agree with that. And I'm not one to stay up late and just like
I am.
Yeah, you are.
I always stay up late. This book,
I was up until like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning reading, and I was like, God, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Like, I gotta put this shit down. So I mean, it was really hard. And
yeah.
I just remember just flying through this book. I think it took us like 2.5 days to read it.
And it's like 600 and something pages. But it was just like this is the book kind of books that I get so excited to read with you.
Obsessive.
Yeah, we both get obsessive, and I love talking about it, and I love discussing it. Like I'm talking now, and I'm starting to get hyped up all over again because it's just one of those books that makes you feel that way. And I want a book that gives me all the feels. I want all of the things. And if you know this about me, this is terrible, but I like when a character is put through the ringer.
Oh yeah, hardcore.
I want the freaking torture. I want somebody to come, you know what I mean? And I want a badass freaking female character.
Oh, for sure.
With like, and I just feel like this book just did it for me.
Yep.
I mean, I could say that over and over, but it really just did.
What this book is basically follows this girl named Reeve. She's part of a rebellion against.
What did you call her?
Rave. I call her Reeve. For some reason.
You will need the pronunciation guide on a few of these because we've had to question ourselves multiple times.
So it follows a main female character. Her name is Rave.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you for catching me.
You're welcome.
And she is part of a rebellion against the kingdom, right? Like anti-government. And that's fine, right?
She's also like an assassin. There's like a type of
she's like
guild kind of thing, like society, and it's like I love these characters when they'll literally, this is awful, but they just will like take people out, but then they also have like emotions and like they
have a conscience.
Yeah,
they're like,
but it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know you know what I mean because we're the same.
I know what you mean. But so it follows her story, and this is basically her story. And it sees her going through all of these different feelings, and I don't really want to get into it, but I do at the same time because
it's a lot.
Everything like builds up to a different point, right?
And you don't realize that it's all going to interconnect until it does. And I feel like even small things
ruin things.
Yeah, and this is like
spoilers.
A book that, it's hard because we don't want to spoil everything because this is one of those books that you want everybody, like I'm jealous of people that are going to get to read this for the first time again.
Because you don't ever get to read it again for the first time, ever. Yeah.
This will be something I will 100%. This is in
this a yearly read for sure, 100%.
This is one of my top favorite books, I think, ever. It'll be up there with my Throne of Glass and my, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's up there with like SJM for me. Personally.
No, and I agree with that. There's not a lot of, like, I have a lot of books, right? But like, and favorite authors. But if I had to rank books, I would definitely put this in the top. I would say top 10 for me.
100%.
100%.
Easily.
And I would actually say it's in between. So I would probably say it's like book like 6 for me.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 or possibly a 5.
Yeah.
But anyways, you also have our main male character, Can. It's spelled Can, okay?
K-A-A-N.
Whatever. Khan. And he is this muscly, delicious, yummy.
Gives you, if you've seen Game of Thrones, it's like Dothraki vibes. Dothraki.
Okay, yeah, that's a good representation of him.
Like,
he is Khal Drogo. So he, like I said, big muscled, yummy, and there was a review that said also big dick. He has big dick. So, and this is just where there's so much tension between the characters. Like I said, I just don't want to spoil anything, and I just don't want to get into.
Maybe we just talk about vibes it gave us then. How about that? Because I felt like for me personally, it gave me like Game of Thrones Dothraki vibes.
Yep.
There was a few moments between the two main characters that kind of gave me a little bit of like some Fourth Wing, just some different like few little things. Maybe it's the banter. I know other books have banter, obviously. I also felt like some of the world building and some of the ways things like interconnected. It gave me a teensy bit of like, and maybe it's just the vibes I'm feeling and the way it made me feel is like I felt like one of the other books that made me like emotionally connected to things was like Throne of Glass.
And I think that's where you also get the assassin vibes, right?
Yeah.
Because
like
that's
what Rave is, right? So another thing that I really loved is there's just like these snippets of like diary entries.
Yep.
Her name's Elwyn. I believe that's how you say it.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
But it's also really difficult to say.
Yes. It's one of those things where, like, with fantasy books, you kind of just sometimes just skirt over names.
You just say it
however you want, and then we just look back later and we're like, we were totally wrong.
It
is fine. But yeah, there's like these things, and it's like age this, like everything. Like it was very interesting. Because you're like, where is this going to tie in?
Yeah, who is this person?
Yeah, I want to know what's going on. Why are we getting these?
Mm-hmm. And
and you know what else is really cool is just the different magical creatures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I thought it was interesting, and I loved that, and I loved the different characters, and there's different kings, and there's different areas on the map of like each area is ruled by somebody else.
What I do find funny about that though is that there's different kings and this for this kingdom, right? But they're all family.
Yeah, so they're brothers.
Yeah, so they're all family. They just have different kingdoms for like this big kingdom in a sense, right? So I thought that was interesting because you don't see that. You don't see other siblings, right? Ruling along other siblings. So it was just it was an interesting take. But the magic in it was just
really cool.
It was different. Right.
Well, like even just like the notes, like to send like letters or whatever, they're animated and they basically like, and in my brain,
they're birds in a sense. Yeah. And it makes me think of Manacled for one because of the cranes, right? So
it's pretty cool. Like everything that you read, you just kind of devour. Like this is another book that I feel like you'll reread and you'll start picking more things out the next time.
Oh, for sure. I actually wanted to, when I started reading it, I was thinking, fuck, I should have actually annotated this book.
Yeah.
This is something I should have taken notes, and then when I reread, maybe see if there's something else that I pick up.
Right.
But I didn't.
That would be something fun to do together, though.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe we need to buy a paperback or something that me and you...
I already have paperbacks of it.
Well, okay, listen. I will buy a paperback for myself. But I don't know. This is just one of those that I feel like it's like we do get super spoilery because we get excited. But this is just one that I'm like, I just feel like
just read it.
It's so good.
Give it a chance. Support the author on Kindle Unlimited. Pick up the book. You know what I mean? Like, I have not led, not that I know of. I have not led anybody stray on a book.
Oh, freak no. Oh, wait, you know another book that I feel like it kind of gave me some vibes? There was like some things that happened in there, and I'm just going to say this. It slightly gave me the Bonset tie. Just there was like one little snippet in there that just like was like a little baby similarity.
Oh, no. Now I need to know what part you're talking about. We'll talk. But I don't know. I just like I do see the Dothraki vibe, the Game of Thrones, right? Like the dragons are so unique. They're different, right? They have different realms that the dragons are in, and in fractions in a sense, like right, like they have different. And
well, one of them's like clear in the snow.
We didn't even talk about the gods.
Oh yeah.
There are gods that control 4 different elements. So there's 4 different gods, right?
I forgot about the elemental stuff. Yeah. This is so. It's like we're just obsessing over the whole like
premise.
Yeah.
So there are 4 different gods that were set back in the day, right? And they are the ones that created these creatures, these dragons. You start off
the book, all this gets explained.
Correct.
Which I could see why it would be harder
it's in the prologue, yeah.
Yeah, but like the prologue is so important to like the whole premise of the book. But it's like if you can get past that, then it gets so good.
Yeah.
Even though I did devour that as well, but I could see how some people.
Yeah. So the gods have created these different types of dragons and creatures and humans that have certain powers, right? In a sense, it's kind of like Avatar, in a sense, right? Like there's the wind, there's like air, water, earth, fire, right? And those are your 4 elements.
And some people aren't like basically like blessed, and some people are, and some areas
people that aren't are called Nulls.
Yes.
Nulls, and then the other ones that do have the powers, they actually have to wear like a bead.
And this is certain areas. Some people like will wear it in their beards, depending on the area. Where Rave's at,
her earrings.
Yeah, they'll wear them like beads, like on their ears, basically as earrings. And they also, it's like they're kind of fae.
Well, they are fae. They talk about them being fae,
and so they've got like
they have the pointed ears.
And so if you're null, they take a clip out of it, like they
notch it. Yep. And you can have multiple different of these powers, but there's only ever been one person that's only had that they know of that has 3, which is one of the king's sons.
Yes.
So that was interesting how they how they distinguish what type of power you have by wearing beads, and where the area you are, what type of dragons there are. They're all based off of these gods, which they call the creators. And it's just, I don't know.
It's just a cool concept. Yeah. It's unique and like, I love a multi point of view book.
I wish there would have been more of Khan's point of view.
I hope we're going to get that in the next one.
I think with the way the book ended, I think we're going to get more POVs besides Rave's and Khan's.
Yeah.
I think there will be more POVs coming.
We had like a small snippet of like Vea, which is Khan's sister.
Oh yeah, we had a couple chapters of hers. We had a couple
of hers. I think we're going to see a little bit more of her as well, I hope, because I do actually like her character. And it was just really interesting, just the whole thing. And sometimes I think I always love a multi-point of view, but they do kind of can get spoilery, like for future stuff. And I didn't feel this way about it. I just felt like it gave you more depth.
Well, and sometimes they can get overwhelming, though.
Yeah.
Going back and
trying
forth,
to keep them straight.
Back and forth. Because you have different points of views, right? And sometimes they all have different storylines. So it's like keeping the story put together is hard. But she did it really well to where the story was still connected, interlocked. So.
Yeah. And I think I just loved Rave too because Selena is one of my all-time favorite characters. And I feel like she gave me some of the Selena vibes. And so it was just like, I just immediately felt like I just like loved her.
Yeah.
And she goes through some shit.
She does go through some shit.
You know what else I loved? I loved that they were older characters.
Yeah, they're not teenagers.
Yeah,
they're not
older.
They're not 18 years old. They're actually like
Alou in the diary entries, she starts out younger and gets a little bit older. But
you see her life grow.
And so it was just like, I loved that because I feel like sometimes it's hard when you're reading about, it's like I have to forget sometimes that they're like young, but then it makes sense sometimes in books when they're young because they're making stupid decisions.
The good thing about this one with Rave is you actually see her in a point where at the beginning of the book where you do feel she's super young, right?
Yeah.
But then by the end of the book, you see her character actually grows within this first book really well to where it didn't seem rushed.
Yep. I liked the pace of the book.
Yeah.
I just loved it all.
And there were some parts in the book that had no action at all. And
you still liked it.
Yeah, it was written so well that you actually didn't feel bored.
Yeah. Okay, here's my question for you. What is your spice rating on this book?
I would only give it and honestly, I think I would only give it a 0.5.
I think I would give it a 1 just for me.
I'm a 0.5 just because there wasn't a lot of it in it, right? And I don't feel like the storyline needed it.
It was like a good enough plotline that it just naturally happened.
Yeah, it was a natural thing that happened in the book. It led it up with the sexual tension and the forced proximity.
I got
you. But it wouldn't. The book didn't need it, but it was there and it was still good, right?
Yeah.
But
I just feel like it elevates it just a little.
I'm gonna give it a 0.5.
Okay.
Spice.
Yeah.
So if you had to choose a dragon, I don't know the dragon's names. I only know the breed of the dragon of one, and I only really think we only ever I guess
you don't learn a lot.
Out of the two that we really learned about, which would you choose? A moon plume.
They're fast, agile,
yeah. They got the longer bodies. Or Khan, he has the really big, beefy fucking dragon that's he lives in the Firelands and shit like that.
Yeah,
right?
And then there's the other one that. Why am I thinking more bird-like? It is.
I don't think that was actually a dragon. I actually think that was just one of the creatures that was.
Okay, maybe it was.
And that was the header, right?
Yeah.
I think that was actually just a creature in the story. Okay.
I feel like I get stuck. I don't love the heat, but I love when people have fire powers and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like I want an in between because I love the power, of something big and bulky and just whatever. But then I also am I love the agility that the moon plume, they say that they have, but they're more icy cold tundra. They're two polar opposites, and I feel like I need a mix. I don't know because I hate the heat. I struggle with the heat. So I feel like I want to say a moon plume, but I love the idea of a big beefy dragon. You know what I mean?
Big beefy man.
Yeah, but maybe I like that one.
Yeah, I would say a moon plume because I like the elegant looking dragons, right? I like that.
And the dragon on the cover
is stunning, it's which I would assume is a moon plume.
Yeah.
I would 100% say that's a moon plume.
The colors are beautiful. Yeah.
The book is just beautiful.
It is. The story's beautiful.
HBO, give us a TV series.
I know.
Give us a good fucking TV series.
This would be a good one.
It really would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's also because it's they did Game of Thrones and it was amazing.
HBO just does some good shit.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, they could turn this into a great fucking TV show. Just envisioning it now. HBO, call me.
Oh. Sure. I sit here and now I'm dwelling. This is so dumb.
I want to reread the book.
I know. It's one of those that you get done reading and you just want to pick it right back up and restart so you can get. You're oh my god, I didn't notice this or all these details. Yeah, maybe we'll have to have our own little thing and annotate it. Yeah. I feel like I loved the plot twists in this too. This book had some good little plot twists where it's you thought that you knew and you did, but you didn't. And I just
it's psych.
Yeah. It's let's
take it one step further. I did call something and I remember telling you about it and I was I think this is I think I know what this is going on. Mm-hmm. And then I was wrong. Well, maybe. I don't know. One of the theories that I have, we technically don't know. Mm-hmm. Because of how it ended, though. So I don't know.
This is literally what this book does is you're done with it, but you're not done with it. You think about it for days after. You're the wheels are turning.
Yeah, it was hard to pick up something else after it. That's for sure.
I think we both ended up playing Dreamlight Valley.
Yeah.
And we just both were I don't feel like reading right now because that
was all of May though.
I was obsessing over it.
It was all of May.
That's okay.
But I definitely say pick it up, give it a chance.
5-star read for both of us.
I could say an infinity read.
Yeah.
I could give it an infinity tier.
It's good.
He's good.
He's good.
The book. He's good.
Okay, I don't really have anything else because I just don't want to spoil it, and I honestly will just sit here and say the same things over and over because I'm obsessed.
Yeah, we can't talk anymore about it because it'll spoil it for you guys, and we want you guys to.
This is one of those we don't actually want to spoil.
Yeah.
You know.
This is like a spoiler-free review. Great, multiple. I mean, there's so many different. Why am I throwing a blank on the term?
Characters?
No.
Multiple different.
No, I didn't know what you're thinking.
I have
tropes.
Oh yeah.
There are multiple tropes.
There is a lot of tropes in this. But that's probably why it gives us all the feels, because it's all the things we love.
And we can't say one of them because it'll be a spoiler. So
I mean, we said forced proximity. Let's say that.
I know. Forced proximity.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways.
It's a good book.
It's so good. Oh my god. Love it. Okay, be sure to like, subscribe.
Follow all of our channels if you would like to see other reviews of what we have done here, because there may be spoilers on those, but
it's fine. Read the books and then you can watch it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it'll make you want to read the books.
Watch it and read the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys.